Episode 1 Lost. Welcome to Iron Stories, a podcast about the Ironsworn RPG and a solo actual play. In the first episode, the 0th episode, we created the world that everything is taking place in, fledged out the world of the Ironlands, and I also created my character, which is called Kaivan. If you didn't listen to that already, go check it out. It's called episode 0, which discusses on how the world is built and how the character is built, and gives you more information about that. If you do not want to do that, it's also okay. If you just want to get along and find out what the character can do or what the character is made of, it's also fine. So without further ado, we will go right into the game. And we will start with Kaivan currently arriving at a small village. The weather, it's not bad to say, but there is like noticeably the air is humid and it smells rainy in a matter of sense. So it's very humid. The sky is completely gray. There is a lot of clouds around, gray clouds, so it might rain soon, or it might rain at least in a day or two. And Kaivan is just traveling along what seems to be pastures. There is a lot of green grass all over. It's still green, so I would say it's not winter or anything. It's still green everywhere, and you can see in these pastures there are cows and sheep and other livestock that is here to be farmed or help during the farm. And you can see that as he's traveling more and more, that there's now coming into view some houses, this village that he is traveling to, which is called Greenhome. And he has been there in the past. He knows a bit the people. Well, they know him. They know that he is a warden, an outcast that is traveling the lands for work, for those that need it. And it's more of a community that's kind to those wardens, to those outcasts, to do this thing. So that's why he's happy to go back where he thinks he will get some work, or at least a roof over his head for a day or for a night, not to sleep outside. And so he's traveling to Greenhome, and there he comes into it. It's coming to view him. There's like 20 to 30 families living in Greenhome. As far as he knows, there's about that many houses. The houses are just simple cottages made out of wood and thatched roofs. So nothing expensive or extraordinary. It's just basic houses. They're mostly small. Maybe some of them are a bit bigger, but when there are two families or maybe more families living in the same house, or the family is bigger that lives in that house. And these houses are part of the families that live there. There's mostly and that's why it's called Greenhome, because everything they live in is in this plains where there's a lot of grass around. So they have livestock that they keep around, that they nurture, so they can of course have something to eat, of course, and there is also other farms where they produce normal, so where they plant, and then they sow whatever they planted in the fall, and then gather that. So there's that. There's also some stables around the houses where they will put the livestock, or where there are maybe some one or two horses around there, which they use to do some heavier chores, especially for the ones that are growing plants, that they need to plow the land. So they use horses to plow the land. Yeah, so he's approaching Greenhome, and it's about midday. Baku the owl has gone off, trailed off, probably going to hunt some mice or something, so he can eat. Kaivan just gets out a small piece of venison jerky out of his bag, and he puts it in his mouth, chews a bit. It's quite leathery, but I mean, it's nourishment, and it's a trade-off to having some meat that is able to be so he can eat meat while traveling that's not rotten or something. So he dried it out over a campfire, and now he has some jerky that he can eat during his travels. But as he's chewing it, he's a bit, yeah, I had that for several days. Maybe something else would be good. So he's getting into town, or in this village, and he can see one, and as I said, they know him already. They know him that he is a warden. And as he's approaching the village, there's one other guy, that just basically is clothed in work clothes and farmer's clothes, and he's approaching him. And he says, hello there. And Kaivan just begrudgingly he's more comfortable alone, but if need be, I mean, he looks into any opportunity to get something decent to eat and some warm bed, to trade the hard floor of the world for a bed, even if it's just for a day or for a night. So he begrudgingly turns over, walks to this person, looks him in the eye, and yes, what can I do for you? And the farmer looks in and says, I know you have been here before. Forgive me, I'm not good with names, and I don't know yours. Oh, by the way, I'm Okoth, and we could use your help. Kind of looks at him. Yes, I have been here before. My name is Kaivan. You know what I am. And he puts out his arm, and now, or his hand, and now there's this scar on his hand that signifies, or that denotes that he is basically a warden. And Okoth then says, yes, I know who you are, and it's why we need some outside help, please, it's not good to standing out here. Let's get some ale into you, and we can talk. And hearing that, Kaivan is a little bit happier. There's he says, okay, let's get some ale, and they traverse a little bit further into the village, and he can see that in the village there seems to be some commotion going on. He can see as he travels deeper, or to the town square or the village square, where there is a a well in the middle of the village, and he can see that there's some women around there. They are like gossiping or whispering to each other, and he can hear, "Oh, it's him," maybe he can help us. So he's a bit aware of what goes around him. He doesn't mind. It doesn't matters to him as long as they don't be aggressive to him or hostile to him. He doesn't care what they say, but and he's looking forward to some ale. So he follows Okoth further and to the village square, where there is a little bit of a bigger house. And as they enter, you can see that this is just a small little way house, small little inn. There's like two to three tables in here, and there is a barkeep, or there is a person behind the bar that as soon as Okoth looks at him and he puts out two fingers, and the person behind the bar just pours two ales and gives it to him. And he finds very easily there's nothing much going on. He finds an empty table, sits down, and from the whole path or the whole way to the thing, Kaivan could already sense that something is off, that because he's seen the people in the streets, that something is off. And Okoth tells him, well, here are our woes. So we normally have a hunter in our midst that is helping normally when there are beasts around to keep them at bay. But since 3 days we didn't hear from him, and we're worried that something has happened to him. We fear not going too far outside of our village, so we couldn't find him in the near vicinity. And yeah, it would be great if you could help us finding him. While you're here, we are happy to provide you a room and provide you a meal every day. Beware, we're not in any kind of way rich or could provide you more reward, but we're desperate to find somebody that could help us. And Kaivan, I think, knows that there's a hunter in this village. So this village mostly consists of farmers, and there's just one hunter around that basically, that as Okoth says, is responsible for hunting down wild animals, wild animals. He was previously here, and if there's bigger beasts, they are happy if a second person is there to help the hunter around. And Kaivan thinks for a minute if he could remember, and then he says to Okoth, Kulan, isn't it? That's the hunter you're speaking of. Yes, you're right, Kulan. I'm afraid he has gone missing. And are you helping us? Very well. A meal and a bed, you said. Can be arranged. So mechanically now, I swear an iron vow with Kaivan, which is basically the inciting incident for Kaivan now. It is, he has a bit of a soft spot when it comes to missing persons, since he is still trying to find his sister. So finding another missing person is maybe a step further. And he was actually traveling to Greenhome because he thinks he could gather more information. And if somebody could give him information, it's probably somebody that is that's going on in the wild, that knows a bit what's going a bit around outside of the village. So finding Kulan would give him probably some benefits. So I now swear an iron vow to find Kulan, the missing person of Greenholm. And so I will now roll on hard, which is not that great of a stat for me, but anyway, I will roll and see what I get. Oh, so that's really great, because actually I have a strong hit anyway. So that is nice. I rolled a 6 on my action die and my +1 on the thing. So I know what I must do next. I am pretty confident on what I have to do. I know a bit, as I said, because I was back here already. I know a bit the lands from my previous visits, so I know where I could start. And I also actually rolled a double 2, which is a match, which even gives me opportunity. So I could have an opportunity here. And I would say, yeah, the opportunity is maybe not immediate, but I would say that if I find Kulan, he might have information or where I could find my sister. So that's, I select that as opportunity. So I'm pretty sure that my sister has gone through Greenholm at some parts of her travels, which is something I maybe have gathered beforehand. So I know if I find Kulan, if I know my sister, and if I know, because I know a bit Kulan from my previous visits here, I know if I could find him, he could maybe point me further where my sister could be, so I can find her. So this is my opportunity I gain while having this strong hit and while having a match on this vow. And I select it as a dangerous quest. So I note this down. So on finding him, I will have information about my sister. Okay, so that's really nice. So I already know. So I want to find Kulan. I finished drinking my ale. I talk to Okoth and say, well, about that meal, I will take that now. So I also order, they give me some bread, which is something I hadn't had for a long time. And I ask a bit more for me as supply for my travels. And I get a fine stew as lunch or as dinner. And yeah, that's really great. So I have a strong hit, so I know exactly what I must do next, which is basically before I head out, I would say I just go around the village. I find some people that want to talk to me. Shouldn't be that hard, as I said. They aren't hostile against me. Some of them are still shying away. They don't trust outsiders that much. So maybe it's fear, maybe it's distrust, I don't know. But I find some people and I ask around where they might have seen Kulan the last time. So I try to gather some information about him, and so I can roll on my wits for that. So let's see. Yeah, again, another strong hit. I rolled really great today. So that means I find one person in particular which lives a little bit outside of the village or on the edge of the village. And he tells me, yeah, I've seen Kulan. He has gone up to the hills or beyond the hills, where Dark Forest starts. we thought first he's going to hunt there, or he went there, so you should probably follow him. It's maybe half a day's journey. You should be at the edge of the woods, and you should be able to from there on to get into more. So, and again, from my travels, I know roughly where this. So I know it was a green home. There is more or less a plains just full of grass, and then there comes some hill, and behind the hills there is a forest, which the green homians say that's dark forest. They don't venture too much into there, maybe for fear of creatures or whatever. So I know that I have to walk half a day's journey. Good thing I took some provisions from the inn in Greenholm, and I have to walk now through half a day roughly until I can get to until I can get to the forest edge where they saw, or where they think they saw last Kulan. So I gather around some of my things and I start to go to this dark forest. And since I know a bit the lands, I just said this as troublesome, because yeah, I know the land a bit and it shouldn't be too hard for me to find. So I start to walk off, and so let's see what happens. I would say I start my journey, since it's midday, I decide to go there and then to camp, make camp before the forests for the night, and then I go the next day. I go into the night into the forest. I don't want to take too much of a risk doing anything else. So it takes me about half a day to travel from Greenholm to the edge of the dark forest of Greenholm. So I roll for that and I get a weak hit actually. So that means it takes a bit out of my resources from me, but I still make it to the edge of the dark forest. And I call for Baku, my owl, to come back to me, and she was flying high above me around, and she comes back, and I fasten my leather strap on my right arm, where Baku can land, and I can see that she probably has just recently fought something or found something to eat, so there's still a little bit of blood residue on her. Yeah, I start to make camp here. I don't know if it's safe here to camp, but I mean it's probably safer than go into the forest at this time of hour. It's beginning to get dark, so it's probably better to just make camp here. And so let's make camp for the moment. So I started a small fire. I take out some of the bread that I got from the inn, some of my venison jerky that I still have. Make some meal, still give a little bit to my owl, to Baku, and I make camp. And I get a strong hit, Jesus. I prepare myself for the travel ahead next day. So sleep at some point comes. It's not the best of sleep. I would have rather slept in the inn, but at least the warm meal at least was nice that I got. So I'm still happy and I could sleep, and I tried to think about. And the next day when I wake up, I gather my supplies and think ahead what I need to do next. I get around, okay, so I have to prepare myself. What do I do next? And this helps me a little bit on my next travel. So I start to go into the dark forest to look for things maybe I even look around a bit where I camped, if I could find some sort of track that could lead me to Kulan. And so I, using my knowledge of the wilds, I try to find some previous foot tracks that seem to be out of place, and try to gather if I could find out some more information, or a track that I could find out where Cullen has gone. So yeah, and since I'm prepared, I modify that thing. But I still get only a weak hit, so that's, again, at least nice now that I get something weak here. Okay, so I am extremely focused on finding this track. And let's see, let's maybe ask the Oracle what could happen here. So I'm basically focused too deeply in finding the track. I do not see anything around me that great. So I might have not seen something, or I'm not completely aware of my surroundings. So maybe I would say that maybe so I couldn't find. So I start to get into the forest without. I thought I saw something. I saw something in where I think this is a track, but I don't know what I really see. And I just see on the edge that there is. I can find in his trails. I can find some dark stuff, which I quickly can deduce it is probably blood, but it's already dried up blood. So whoever did go through here was here way before me. I wasn't aware of that. As I go further into the woods, I was not aware of my surroundings. So what happens actually is probably I hear some rustling in the distance, and I know, shit, it's too late to react now, to prepare myself for whatever is gonna happen. And I could just hear this when there's a boar just sprinting right at me, and just plowing right up to me, trying to gore me to death, basically. So I have to just react then and there. I can't prepare myself. I just have to react out of the moment here. I try to. In the last, I can just see this boar. There's these two tusks just out, and he's just sprinting just ahead of me. And the only thing I can think of is just to get out of the way of that, just to jump to the side. So I miss here. I could burn my momentum to get well, at least a weak hit. I think I chose that. So I faced my danger. I burned my momentum. I'm still somewhat prepared out of it. I had at least a good night's sleep, so I'm able to jump off. But I would say that, I mean, as I dodge away from that board just getting just to me, I fall down hard onto my side. There's maybe some underbrush that just takes that goes a bit into my side. So that just like that. I of course immediately get out of the way at least, but I mean this took me some damage, and I get up a bit, and the boar is heading away. He saw me and is not turning around. Yeah, let's enter the fray here. Get up and fletch my teeth against him. Take over my bow and try to get him, but weak hit here. Yeah, I at least you can see the boar. The boar is still trying to turn around. I get in the initiative against him. I can now take my time to strike him, but it's yeah. I at least took some. It took some peace out of me. So yeah, he's quite a bit ahead of me. So I take my bow, take one of my arrows from my supply point, and just shoot at him. Let's see. I roll with edge because I'm rolling at range. Oh shit. So double 10 on the challenge dice, which means a complication. So still from my fall onto the wooden forest floor, I'm still a bit groggy. I take my arrow and the arrow just breaks. I pull too hard and to the side, and the arrow just breaks off. So I have to pay the price for that, for my failure at that moment. So I would say, I mean, I lose some supply here. So there's the arrows that have gone, and I see shit. As I fell down, a lot of my arrows, they just had some splinters on it. So I fell a bit on my side and on my back. So some of my arrows have splintered, or some have even broken. And I just saw that as I pulled out one of the arrows to shoot, and it broke into my hands. I can just see here, shit, some of my arrows have broken. So it's no good to fight with arrows. I have to think about that later on. Luckily, I still have a small dagger, a small knife that I can use to fight. So at least I have that to fight. So and the boar has now turned around and is again coming at me. So I have to I prepare myself. I pull down my feet into the ground and get out the dagger. Prepare myself for the impact. Hold out my knife, and so let's see here. I'm waiting to clash with him. It's a weak hit, so I'm able to. So he's coming at me, and as he's coming at me, I'm bracing myself for the impact of this rushing big board coming to me, and with just some, I'm able, as he's passing beside me, to just slam the knife into the boar, and it squeals out in pain as I'm hitting it, but the impact just. I mean, I brace myself for it, but still, I tumble over just from the blunt force of the impact. So that's bad. So so the boar rushes off again and is turning around again. And I think to myself, I have to remember what Farina taught us, how to handle wild beasts. I shouldn't be this reckless. I shouldn't. I should take my time. I should take my. I should. Yeah. I should prepare myself. I shouldn't be this reckless. So I gather my thoughts and think about what Farina has taught us. I think there's still something I could use, and I just take off in a quick move my quiver, dump the contents on the forest floor. I see, okay, there's one or two of them still lying around. that seem to be okay, hopefully. So I'm trying to take the advantage here again, and I'm trying to use my wits to do this. So yeah, great. I get a strong hit here with an opportunity. Again, the challenge dice have rolled a match, which is nice. So I take control here. I'm in control. I grab some of the arrows that are still great here. I notch one of the still complete arrows, and again I am concentrating myself. I'm taking deep breath, taking aim, and I trust my instincts to that it finds its thing, and I let it loose and try to strike it. So I'm rolling for hitting it, and I get a bonus for it because I took the advantage, but I miss. It just goes right beside. So again, it just the arrow goes wide, and the boar again is charging at me. I cannot find a second arrow that seems to be okay. So shit. I'm becoming discouraged here. I'm losing momentum. I can't be that a simple boar is taking me so long. It took me completely out of surprise. I should have taken more care about my surroundings when I travel into this forest. I knew that thing is dangerous. I should be vigilant when I go into the things, and I blame myself a bit. I'm not taking care about whatever Farina told us. I should be better than this. I shouldn't go just into here just without any things about it. So again, as the boar again is charging against me, I again think about it. So okay, I have to get out here. I cannot take another hit. So let's jump to the side again, but this time take care of your surrounding. And I try to get another advantage out of the situation, and I try to get out of the way. And again, I'm not able. I'm not able to jump away, and the board just hits me right into the guts. It just takes me into here, and I can feel one of the tusks just boring itself into my side. But now that the boar is somewhat in really close combat here, or in close thing here, I stab it again with my knife. I take it out again, try to stab it again right in front of me, and I'm able to do this. So there's another two hits that I get into it, and the boar again squeals out again. It's quite hurt out of that, but as it's pushing his tusk deeper into my side, it's and again I fail to think about again, I was not taking care of my surrounding, and my spirit gets a bit broken out of that, just because I should have been more careful, and all the teaching is of Farina is just going around, but I can feel that, and I just in my broken or half or in this state, I just stab into that board that is just locked within me. And I can feel every step I take a little bit of I can feel it through the vibrations that go through the board, that also just impacts a bit into my side, where one of the tusks of the boar is still currently lodged into here. And I stab and stab and stab and stab and stab, and I I'm trying to finish this. I had enough. I'm disheartened here. It's out of frustration. I keep stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing that boar, and it's a strong hit here. So I stab and 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 stab, and I can feel at some point that the body of the boar just gets limp, and the tusk is sliding out of my thing, and there's this gaping wound now that bleeds profusely, and I can just as it sinks out, and I sink to my knees and try to get in my breath, and I can feel, well, this should have gone much better here. Shit, that's not good, and I need to take a breath for a moment and gather my strength again, and maybe also fix a bit some of my arrows here. That has gone really badly. So that's where we end this episode, with Kaivan currently at the edge of this dark forest, searching for Kulan, was attacked by a boar and almost got knocked out of his senses from it. To summarize here, my health is currently at 2, my spirit is at 4, my supply is at 3, and my momentum is at 0. So I took some hard hits here. I was discouraged by whatever actions I told. I got really badly hurt here. I also, losing all my arrows, or most of my arrows, is also quite a bad thing that I need to fix as soon as possible to get back to fighting strength. So that's the first episode of Iron Stories. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will also come back for the next episode where we see what happens to Kaivan next.